even have enough RCMP feet on the street in Kelowna. No point in having a beautiful city with parks and pathways and public spaces if our citizens are afraid to go out and explore them. And some of them even afraid in their own homes. And some of them even afraid in their own homes. And some of them even afraid in their own homes.
This is a broadcast from Radio Free Canada. We are broadcasting truth and freedom.
You're afraid of change. I don't know the future.
Have you ever thought
I didn't
about
come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there. Where we go from there. Where we go from there. It's a choice I leave to you.
Court of history will smile and tear to tatters the brief of the state prosecutor and the sentence of this court, for she acquits us. Condemned. 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 History will absolve. Singing, this will be the day that I die.
I'm Chris Hedges. I'm a writer. I write books. I spent 20 years overseas as a war correspondent. Came back and realized that corporations had carried out a coup d'etat in my country. And I've been fighting back, although not as effectively as you guys.
But remember to tag them first for identification purposes.
Well, I've covered movements. I covered all of the revolutions in Eastern Europe. I covered the street demonstrations that brought down Milosevic. I've covered both the Palestinian intifadas. And once movements like this start and articulate a fundamental truth about the society that they live in and expose the repression, the mendacity, the corruption, and the decay decay of the structures of power, then they have a kind of centrifugal force. You never know where they're going.
They don't lie. They don't lie, tough guy. This is not a war zone. This is not a war zone. These are unarmed people. It doesn't make you tough to hurt these people. It doesn't make you tough to hurt these people. It doesn't. I don't care. I don't care about these people. I put in my work. It doesn't lie. It does not make you tough to hurt these people. There's nothing tough about it. Nothing. If you want to go fight, go to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Soy una persona, como tú y como cualquier otra. Solo soy una persona. No me representa a nadie, pero quiero participar. Quiero participar en esta democracia, porque creo que todo se puede cambiar. Creo que el sistema puede cambiarse. Creo que no hay nada que sea imposible, pero el gran capital prefiere que tú creas que nada se puede cambiar. Solo soy una persona. Luchemos contra el poder desproporcionado del sistema financiero. Luchemos contra la pasividad y el derrotismo.
if you are inspired by our Arab revolutions, do as we did. You need one. I know you need one, and we need you to do a one. Why? Because we knew from all those revolutions around us, it's not just an Arab Spring, it's a world spring. And we need all those revolutions around us.
تنظيم إيقاع القلب عشان مفيش سرير رعاية عشان مفيش حضانة للطفل.
Still the Egyptian citizen health is not cared for. What all they care for is security and police forces and whatsoever. So we are trying to change this, because otherwise everything we have done will not be benefited for the normal citizen who does not care about elections or constitution. What he cares about is to get a decent meal and a decent healthcare service.
We support Bridget Dabab, Stop Harper, Solidarity from Egypt.
Now the time has come for this nation to fulfill its promise. The events in Birmingham and elsewhere have so increased the cries for equality that no city or state or legislative body can prudently choose to ignore them. The fires of frustration and discord are burning in every city, north and south. Where legal remedies are not at hand, redress is sought in the streets, in demonstrations, parades, and protests, which create tensions and threaten violence and threaten lives. We face, therefore, a moral crisis as a country and a people. It cannot be met by repressive police action. It cannot be left to increase demonstrations in the streets. It cannot be quieted by token moves or talk. It is a time to act in the Congress, in your state and local legislative body, and above all, in all of our daily lives. It is not enough to pin the blame on others, to say this is a problem of one section of the country or another, or to deplore the facts that we face. A great change is at hand, and our task, our obligation, is to make that revolution, that change, peaceful and constructive for all. Those who do nothing are inviting shame as well as violence. Those who act boldly are recognizing right as well as reality.
And I'm responsible as the chief of police in Toronto for the safety of my city, and I could see that property was being damaged, and I think it was a very significant risk.
A significant risk, but where were his officers? Look at the video. Riot police half a block away who were ordered, the chief says, to fall back and guard the summit site. As the vandals rampaged, mobile police heading in the opposite direction, ordered to stay with the march rather than intervene. By the time abandoned cruisers were set on fire, it was apparent that those in command had made a big mistake.
What do you say? What do you think about años para pediros el voto y robaros todo lo que puedan. Solo en este momento os llaman ciudadanos con derecho a voto. Aquí, aparte de juventud, también hay jubilados. Aquí también hay personas que han sido desahuciadas. Aquí también hay gente con una carrera que está en el puto paro.
Hoy, 15 de mayo de 2011, los ciudadanos de este país, libres, conscientes e indignados, hemos salido a la calle en toda España, desde Oviedo hasta Cádiz, desde Vigo hasta Barcelona, para pedir a la clase política y financiera que cambie el rumbo, que no roben nuestra democracia.
Los poderes económicos y políticos han pervertido el ideal democrático y han saqueado el estado del bienestar por el que tanto se luchó en el pasado, recortando los derechos de todos nosotros, estudiantes, trabajadores, parados, jubilados, ciudadanas y ciudadanos de a pie. Por una sociedad justa, libre e igualitaria.
Por un futuro digno, solidario y sostenible. Y sobre todo, por sentido común. Exigimos una democracia real ya.
I'm not here to talk about plans to deal with this till 2017. I'm saying we've got a real problem, and I'm tired of Republicans and Democrats who either want Republicans who want to burn the place to the ground, and Democrats, with all due respect, who want to offer a plan that gets it through their end of their second term of their presidency, and then screws me and my kids when it's over. And until we do that, we have to deal with the extraction that is at foot. It is the reason the financial markets are behaving the way they're behaving. That is a mathematical fact. This is not some opinion. This this is a mathematical fact. Tens of trillions of dollars are being extracted from the United States of America. Democrats aren't doing it. Republicans are not doing it. An entire integrated system, financial system, trading system, taxing system that was created by both parties over a period of 2 decades is at work on our entire country right now. And we're sitting here arguing about whether we should do the $4 trillion plan that kicks the can down the road for the president for 2017 or burn the place to the ground, both of which are reckless, irresponsible, and stupid. I've been coming on TV for 3 years doing this, and the fact of the matter is that there's a refusal on both the Democratic and the Republican side of the aisle to acknowledge the mathematical problem, which is that the United States of America is being extracted. It's being extracted through banking, it's being extracted through trade, and it's being extracted through taxation. I would like him to go to the people of the United States of America and say, people of the United States of America, your Congress is bought. Your Congress is incapable of making legislation on health care, banking, trade, or taxes, because if they do it, they will lose their political funding, and they won't do it. But I'm the President of the United States, and I will have a country that is run by a bought Congress. So I'm not going to work with a bought Congress and try to be Mr. Big Guy. I'm working with the bought Congress. I'm going to abandon the bought Congress like Teddy Roosevelt did, and I'm going to go to the people of the United States and I'm going to say, you've got a bought Congress. And until we get rid of the bought Congress, which is Jimmy Williams' constant point, which is get the money out of politics, and until a president says that's the problem and says he's going to fix it, there is no policy that I can possibly see, no matter how brilliant your idea may be, or your idea, or my idea, or her idea, or your idea at home, is that idea will not happen as long as there's the capacity to basically fire a politician who disagrees with me by taking funding away from him. Is that a fair assessment?
Money in politics is the root of all political evil. It is corruption at its worst. And until we step up and kick that out of the park, it's going to be the same system
because when you realize that the banking system is fully corrupt and defrauding us, and I come out and say that, which is what I want my president to do, that at that exact moment I say, you know what, we got a screwed up situation here, people. You all know it, and now what? I'm going to admit it. And as a result, not only have I admitted it, but we're going to begin the process of solving it like grown-ups. They did it in World War II. They did it after the Civil War. They did it in Latin America with the Brady Bonds.
That video that sparked a firestorm over the weekend. Police officers at the University of California, Davis, aiming pepper spray at peaceful protesters, just sitting down. The university president is facing tough questions about whether the police went too far. And today the campus was flooded with thousands of protesters. ABC's Cecilia Vega was there.
The images have gone viral. Seated UC Davis protesters sprayed directly in the face by campus police. Today, thousands showed up at that same spot to protest what they call police brutality. ABC News has learned the police chief is now on leave along with 2 officers. The chemical in pepper spray is the same as in Tabasco sauce, but 100 times more concentrated.
And it felt like my face was peeling off. It felt like my hands were on fire.
I spent the next hour dry heaving and vomiting, and I still have a harsh burn throughout my body, in my nose, and in my mouth.
It causes burning of the skin, as well as uncontrollable coughing and gagging. If it gets in the eyes, the lids cannot be opened. In the throat, it causes swelling, restricts breathing, and makes the person weaker. Those effects visible on the face of this elderly protester pepper sprayed in Seattle last week.
Here they come.
comes when silence is betrayal. That time has come for us, even when pressed by the demands of inner truth. Men do not easily assume the task of opposing their government's policy, especially in time of war. And I knew that I could never again raise my voice against the violence of the oppressed in the ghettos without having first spoken clearly to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, my own government. What do they think as we test out our latest weapons on them, just as the Germans tested out new medicine and new tortures in the concentration camps of Europe? Now that is little left to build on save bitterness. We are met by deep but understandable mistrust. To speak for them is to explain this lack of confidence in Western words, and especially their distrust of American intentions now. The world now demands a maturity of America that we may not be able to achieve. This way of settling differences is not just. A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death. Somehow this madness must cease. We must stop now. I speak as one who loves America. To the leaders of our own nation, the great initiative in this war is ours. The initiative to stop it must be ours.
Load up on guns, bring your friends. Hard to lose and to pretend she's overboard and self-assured. Oh no, the dirty word.
Sake, let's switch on the old wireless and see what's happening around the world. And we switched on, we went to Radio Moscow World Service. And my friend says, this frequency is Radio Moscow World Service. And I'm listening in, and it's the top of the hour, and there's this music playing. And of course, I know how these things work at Radio Moscow. When there's a lot of music at the top of the hour and no news bulletin, that means just hit the fan. That's what it turned out to be when Karina Melikan went on the air a couple of minutes after, past the top of the hour, saying that, you know, what has happened.
This is Radio Moscow World Service. We now bring you a news flash. Because of Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev's inability to act as Soviet president, USSR Vice President Gennady Yanayev has taken over presidential powers in the country.
Extension of the present. To look at long-term in a way that is dynamic, fluid, and based on completely different principles than we have right now is essential, because we're going to have a political capital as well-meaning politicians to continue to get elected, even though we're pushing forward for bold change that is destabilizing